What's good, Ravens fans? It's JG from the Ravens Space back with another video. Thank you guys so much. Want to talk about the big news we got today. Odell Beckham Jr. is coming to Baltimore on a one-year, $18 million deal. Again, $15 million is guaranteed, and it can be up to $18 million. A couple things that this means for the Ravens. First, though, I want to talk about, I think, the biggest reason why they did it, and then what Odell Beckham brings as a player. So, again, first, the biggest thing that this does is it gives Lamar Jackson a harder time saying no, right? When you get to play with Odell Beckham, we obviously know that Lamar and Odell are cool. There was a FaceTime screenshot that was sent with, Lamar saying trust. Listen, guys, this is it makes it harder, right? When you get to play with someone who you admire as a competitor, especially when it's a player who is as culturally significant as Lamar Jackson is, right? Again, a lot of people see Lamar Jackson as one of the most significant quarterbacks in all of football, especially from fans' perspective, right? Not all quarterbacks can say that. An example, right, of a quarterback that some people think is just as good as Lamar is Justin Herbert. But Justin Herbert doesn't move ticket sales like Lamar Jackson doesn't sell jerseys like Lamar Jackson does, right? People see Lamar Jackson and he's one of the faces of the NFL. Odell Beckham is also that. And so it's why a lot of players want to play with Odell Beckham, right? Again, Aaron Rodgers is not a doctor. Aaron Rodgers doesn't know how Odell Beckham's leg is healed, right? He doesn't know how durable Odell Beckham is. But what he does know is that it's Odell Beckham, and when you get to play with a player who has been as electric as Odell Beckham has over the years, who has been as significant to the league as Odell Beckham has, that really does mean something. And so that is one of the big reasons I think that the Ravens made that deal, overpaid him, right? Odell Beckham isn't worth $15 million a year, in my opinion. And I honestly think, right, that there were other receivers that you could have paid a similar amount of money to get that done, right? I don't know how much DeAndre Hopkins is making, but it can be much more than $18 million a year, right? Cannot be much more than that. And so that trade is something that can happen. Now, again, the Ravens value first-round draft picks, so it's probably unlikely that that would exactly happen. But this is a fine choice, especially compared to what we've done in other free agency periods with receivers. Now, once you add all this together, let's talk about what Odell Beckham brings as a player, separate from Lamar Jackson, right? And again, we understand Lamar Jackson is the biggest thing. Without Lamar Jackson, you got to throw to the receivers. But with Lamar Jackson, let's talk about this offense now, right? You have Odell Beckham, who at the very least is a verifiable number 2 receiver. At times when he was with the Rams, you could argue he was a 1B. He definitely wasn't 1 because of Cooper Kupp, but you could argue he was 1B by the way he was playing. In the past, he's been a 1A, of course. But at the very least, he's a number 2 receiver, right? Then you pair that with Bateman, who right now, I think he has number 2 receiver written on him right now, but could be a number 1 if he takes those next steps. And again, he has something to prove as well, right? The way he has been talking about Eric DaCosta and how he hasn't been given the chance. So now you have those 2 receivers who are verifiable receivers in this league. You guys know I'm not a fan of Bateman like you guys are. You guys think he's a number 1 for sure. A lot of you guys do. I don't think that. But he's definitely a number 2 for sure, in my opinion, in this league. So you at least got number 2s, right? Now, injury is a concern for both of these players, but you got 2 number 2s to start, okay? I think if you keep Demarcus Robinson, you have a number 3 for sure. He's definitely a number 3, right? And then now you add on these other players, right? Prochet is number 4. You keep on going down the line in the list, right? But you at least have a NFL receiving core, which is something that we could not say all the time, that we had an NFL receiving core. Now, on top of that, you add Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, right? two players who we know what Mark Andrews is. He is one of the best tight ends in the league. Isaiah Likely, easily a number 2 tight end, easily, and definitely has potential to be a number 1. Again, let's see what step he makes this year and how much the Ravens pass the ball. The running game will still be dangerous, so you throw that in there, and hopefully you finally have something that can mature and that can grow. Again, the biggest thing that you have to address, though, is the quarterback position. We're going to leave that out for now. Let's get back to Odell Beckham and just talk about his skill set. So we talked about what he does for Lamar. We talked about what he does for the offense as a whole. Let's talk about his specific skill set that he still has at his age. He comes into this team, he's the best route runner on the team, right? When I say the best route runner, he can run every single route on the route tree, but also he has the ability to run it at an explosive level. That's the difference between him and Bateman. Bateman can run routes well as well. The issue, though, is that we did not see Bateman have those explosive plays on comeback routes. We didn't see him have those explosive plays on stop and goals, right? We seen him run down the field fast and, beat somebody sometimes. We seen him run slants, catch the ball, and go. However, Odell Beckham can do all of that stuff, and when he gets the ball in his hand, can gain yards after the catch. Of course, he's not what he used to be with the 2 injuries and his older age, but he still has that ability and that talent to really be impressive in that way. Also, he catches the ball, right? That is important for our receiving core, guys, because for a long time, we could not say that consistently, right? We had players like Hollywood Brown, who again is very fast, and honestly, looking back on it, we probably underappreciated him as a receiver. However, he did have problems catching the ball. Rashard Perriman had problems catching the ball. That's a throwback for you guys. Not too far, but if you guys don't know, he had issues catching the ball. Prochet has issues catching the ball, right? Bateman at one time early in this season had issues catching the ball. Odell Beckham's not going to have those issues. He will catch the ball and will be a good, safety valve for Lamar if we get him in the right play sets. And then lastly, he does bring an X factor that you need in today's offenses, right? Mark Andrews is great, and Mark Andrews can beat linebackers and safeties, but in playoff games and in games where you have to have it, Mark Andrews can disappear because they double bracket him, right? He's not Travis Kelce. I'm sorry to say that, but he is not, right? So adding Odell Beckham, that explosiveness, the ability to know I can beat you without, help from the safety. I don't have to beat you deep, but I can beat you side to side and, make sure that I can get those first downs that you need in order to be successful, and then maybe break a tackle and see what happens. Now, the biggest caveat, the biggest caution, Odell Beckham is coming back from injury. So we really don't know exactly what he is, but when he came back from injury last time, he was still a really, really great player, and I still think he does have a shot, a true shot at being a number 1, number 2 type player. And we're hoping hoping that Rashard Bateman takes that next step into becoming that number 1 receiver that the Ravens drafted him for. So again, we've had a tough offseason, right? A very, very bad offseason in my opinion. However, this is something that, one, can correct the biggest issue and fix that bridge of Lamar, hopefully. And then 2, depending on what we do with the draft, can we get another young receiver, which is this draft has a lot of them? Can we go ahead and get a cornerback that can help and fill in if we don't get Peters back? Are there any defensive linemen that can fill in for Calais, right? All this stuff does come in, and let's see what kind of offseason we can put together. Again, we were a playoff team before Lamar got injured, right? We still made the playoffs, but we weren't a playoff team, right? The year before, we were one of the best teams in the league when Lamar got injured, even with all the injuries. So Lamar is enough to get you to the playoffs, but is the defense and the team around Lamar enough to make those next steps? So that's what we are trying to build right now. And Odell Beckham's the first step. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. You think Odell Beckham's a good move? You think he's going to make a big difference? And most importantly, do you think he's going to get Lamar back in the saddle? Because if you get Lamar back in there, you know, $18 million is worth it for 1 year to get Lamar back. So let's see what happens. Thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.